Have you ever wondered why the song a month strategy, the one every guru swears by, is the very thing keeping you stuck, broke, and burnt out possibly? The 30-day release cycle isn't a marketing plan, it's a scam. And today I'm going to show you the secret that Spotify knows but won't tell you, and exactly how to fix your strategy before you quit music for good. By the end of this video, you'll have a 12-week roadmap that actually builds a fan base, saves your sanity, and triggers the algorithm the right way, or at least the sane way. My goal is to help you understand that music first discovery is the only key to unlocking a high value fan base that actually buys tickets and merch. And I'm going to show you a system that stops the social media hamster wheel and puts your talent back in the driver's seat. Now, keeping the attention of an audience has been the focal point of the music industry since the beginning. But as technology evolved, the time between records didn't just shrink, it actually collapsed. And I think that we all understand that. Pre-2008, we lived in a world of the human algorithm. We were the tastemakers and the gatekeepers. But in 2026, the digital algorithm is the gatekeeper, and it feeds you what it thinks is tasteful based on past habits. And effectively, it kills true discovery. So we've reached a breaking point where the speed of consumption has officially outpaced the speed of quality creation. So how did we end up trapped in this one song a month mentality? Well, in July 2020, Spotify CEO Daniel Ek, he was CEO at the time, gave an interview to Music Ally that essentially told artists to stop being lazy in the eyes of the algorithm. And he said this: there is a narrative fallacy here. You can't record music once every 3 to 4 years and think that's going to be enough. Now, of course, everybody erupted with rage with this. And though he wasn't wrong about that statement, it was insensitive to the rate at which quality creations could be made and processed for release at a volume that would not burn out the creator. So most took his statement as, well, so we need to release more music like social media content then, right? And everybody was just in a rage about it. And then you had some people releasing a song a day. Like, they really got crazy with it to game the algorithm. But since that statement, more and more music began to be released, up to 100,000 plus songs per day on the streaming platforms. So now in late 2024, due to the massive flux of uploads and the debt it took on in 2020, Spotify implemented a policy that is fully matured in 2026, which was the 1,000 stream minimum. Tracks must reach at least 1,000 streams in a rolling 12-month period to generate any royalties. The song a month strategy encourages you to release high volumes of music, but Luminate data shows that 88% of all tracks on streaming platforms fail to hit that 1,000 stream mark. And I'll be the first to tell you, I'm a fan of La Russell and his hustle. I'm not a fan of all the music that he puts out. Neither do I have a chance to listen to all of that music that he puts out. And I believe that this is a common belief here. Many people become fans of artists when artists put out tons of social media content that we can relate to. So you are being pressured to work 12 times harder to produce inventory that, for the vast majority of artists, Spotify now keeps 100% of the profit on. Now, the most recent data from Luminate's 2024 and 2025 reports confirm the sheer impossibility of the quantity game. On average, approximately 99,000 to 112,000 new tracks are uploaded to streaming services every single day. And Will Page, former chief economist at Spotify, noted that more music was released in a single day in 2024 than in the entire calendar year of 1989. So the reality is this: when you release one song a month, you aren't standing out. You're actually dropping a single grain of sand into a desert of 3 million other songs released that same month, for which 88% of them will not earn a dime. You see what I'm saying? So moving up to the fourth quarter of 2025, MIDiA research, specifically Mark Mulligan, Hannah Callert, Chris Thakkar, Tatiana Cirisano, and Olivia Jones released a report entitled All Eyes, No Ears, and Why Virality is Not Building Fandom in late 2025. They found that while quantity and virality, short form video, gets views, they have the lowest follower to listener conversion rate. And I've realized that, and my community members have realized that. Now, only 26% of people who follow an artist on short form social media during a high frequency or virality push or viral push actually listen to a second song, if they even make it to the first. So you are building a fan base of strangers who forget you the moment your next 30-day cycle starts, okay? And this is we're not even getting on the ads, because the ads have the same effect. Now, this new research shows that the frequency strategy is failing at its one job, which is making fans based on music discovery. So with all of this information, the Song a Month strategy is a treadmill. It's designed to keep you creating content for the platforms, which is TikTok and Spotify, but the data shows it's actually the least effective way to build a real fan base. And simply for reasons that I'm gonna say later, this is not where people actually successfully discover music. So while pumping out social media content keeps you seen on the platform, it does little to convert the people who discover you there to jump off that platform to go stream. And you may actually notice this. So on the flip side, pumping out lower quality music to game the artist and track popularity scores of DSPs hurts your first impression with the user and your artist popularity scores on Spotify and the likes thereof. So the Song a Month strategy isn't a marketing plan, it's a corporate subsidy. And we've been told that frequency equals growth, but in 2026, it's proving more and more that that isn't the case. So then from there, we move into the burnout phase. And this isn't just a theory, it actually happens before the work starts. And I saw it play out in real time recently. So I was sitting down with a handful of seasoned artists one-on-one, not newbies or people who were just happy to be on a playlist, but pros who have been in the trenches. And we were building out their full 1-year strategies that I have now implemented, but you don't know about yet. And well, you're hearing it, so you know, but mapping out that holy grail of a 12-song-a-year run. And for these artists, 2 of them, the strategy hit a wall. As we looked at the sheer volume of the work required to actually make it happen, the excitement vanished. And these artists looked at the roadmap and asked me, can we reduce the 12 songs to 9? And then one of them said the most honest thing I'd ever heard in this industry. It blew my mind. They said, and I quote, "I am not ready to not stop yet." Because when you start this song process, you can't take your foot off the gas. So my question is, why would a professional artist say that? It's because they know something some gurus don't want to tell you or just won't tell you. Giving a song a real fighting chance to be successful is a logistical monster. And when you're a team of one or a small, new, untrained, independent team, a 30-day window isn't a cycle, it's a collision. And to actually give your music the respect it deserves, you aren't just dropping a song, you're managing a 10-front war. So you got the creative grind where you're finishing the recording while simultaneously chasing down the final mix and master revisions of songs to be released. And then you've got the asset mountain where you're not just making a cover, you're building Spotify canvases and YouTube visualizers and timing the release of every single song asset so they don't step on each other. And then you got the admin trap where you're buried in the unsexy stuff of ISRC registrations and split sheets and producer contracts and sample clearances, if you got any. And then you got the digital run that you got to go on because you're trying to pitch the DSP editors 3 weeks in advance while still trying to promote the song that you released 3 weeks ago. So this is where the Song a Month strategy becomes a scam. Because when the logistics of releasing music take up 90% of your life and the making of the music takes up 10%, you aren't an artist anymore. You're a distributor's unpaid intern. And now, to be fair, as an artist, you won't be spending all of your time creating. That's a fact. As you grow, a lot of time goes to advanced promotional methods and PR methods, plus other opportunities that will arise as you get bigger. So let's just be fair here. However, when you hear a pro say, "I'm not ready to not stop," they're telling you that the machine is moving faster than the art can keep up. And they realize that if they don't slow down, they aren't actually building a career. They're just feeding a beast that is never full. So we're going to need a roadmap to sort all of this out and a slower schedule. Now, so far we've covered how we got here and the burnout, but this next part is where most artists and their teams will win, which is the pivot solution. So stay with me. And side note, if you need a strong business foundation to run your record label with funding, grab my 60-day record label system, complete with my funding partners, to fund some of this process or this release process that you're structuring. Now, here's the pivot solution, and it's all about music first discovery. Yes, we want to boost your artist popularity score and the track popularity score on DSPs. I'm not ruling that out. That has to happen. Those are non-negotiables. But our problem is with social media. That was the true culprit of exhaustion and the Song a Month strategy, okay? The attention span on social media was and is short, and social media platforms other than YouTube have an extremely low conversion rate to the streaming platforms. So while Spotify will take all of the traffic it can get, it indicates that a song is still new in their system for 18 months. So these two algorithms are out of balance rather than YouTube. So short form social media says you have up to a day and a half to make this work, and our users still aren't coming over there to stream your song at volume. Now, of course, for Spotify or the likes of the DSPs, you got that first week to pump traffic in there to pump up the track popularity score and the artist popularity score. Yes, that has to happen. So we do need a push there. Okay, that's cool. But at the same time, Spotify still gives us up to an 18-month window that says that this new record is new and you can keep pushing traffic to it so that it can be discovered. Of course, discoverability comes with more records so that it shows up on other playlists. But if you're pumping traffic into that song and it's still coming in over a long period of time and it's just growing, they're going to recommend it regardless. We don't have to play the compounding game so fast, so quickly. So now we're going to reduce our release strategy to a more manageable timeline of one song every 6 to 8 weeks. If you need to extend it, you can, but you better have great promotion, all right? This gives ample time for logistics, better creative assets, plus time for the data to propagate in the system so it can be analyzed before making the next move. Because according to the data, artists and music are best discovered in music-centric places like Spotify, YouTube, or YouTube Music. And from media research, the best case scenario for artists is for fans to hear the full songs and see their artistic identity upon first impression, whether it be through lives or live shows, music videos and visualizers, or tiny desks and colors type pages. For some people, you notice as on the radar or mic drop pages and things like this. Pages where customers know music is supposed to be. Those are the best places to be discovered as an artist. You see what I'm saying?
Message.
So our phases are going to look like this. Phase 1, this is going to be 1 week of pre-release promotion. Nobody cares about your story yet. They just need to see your talent first. This phase is 90% music, 10% story. So let's create content around the process. And this is high quality footage of the creation, the vocal takes, you know what I'm saying? The aha moments in the studio, the yo, that was crazy. All that, we want to see all that stuff. We don't really care if something is or is not coming out. We just need to see the content. Then we need that talent proof stuff. You know what I mean? The performance first content. So we need to show them why you're the real deal before you ask them for a click. We need all of this in the first week. And then we may need a teaser too, but never say this is coming soon. Put something up like the artwork, what y'all think about this? You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. Create the demand before you supply the date. You know what I mean? That gets people wanting to say, hey, you know, I looked for your song and it wasn't there. And then you can say it's coming soon, but you don't want to actively say it's coming soon when nobody cares. You know what I mean? Now for phase 2, which will be the narrative week or your release week where you tell your story, now they want to know why the music made them feel something. So who is the human behind the sound? So this is when you want to talk about the inspiration of the song and the lyrics, and you want to give those potential super fans the context that they actually crave about you and the music. And then you want to give them the higher fidelity experience, if you will. And this is where the YouTube music video, if you have one, or your visualizer, or even a live session or an acoustic session becomes the priority. Redirect all traffic to a place where they can hear the full song where possible. And then you want to build the identity. You want to connect your personality to the track because people want to know the type of person who would actually make such an amazing creation. Now, all this strictly has everything really to do with story. Now in phase 3, this is going to be the momentum phase. This will be weeks 3 through 8. All right. So it's going to be 5 weeks of post-promotion, post-release, and milestones. So let me explain what I mean by this. This phase is for the people who saw you but didn't follow. You have to prove that this isn't a fluke. So if they stopped and watched, the algorithm is going to bring them back around at some point. So you want to share the wins, give the social proof. We got 10,000 streams in 48 hours, or we got 1,000 streams in 48 hours. We got added to this playlist. We got verified on this thing. Everything that happens, give them the social proof and the milestones, right? And then we got to talk about the milestone stories. So you want to celebrate the achievement with the fans who helped you get there, because it's going to build community instead of just reach. And then these are going to be your early super fan adopters. And then we got to do the loop back. So you want to use the data from the first 2 weeks to retarget the people who watched phase 1 but didn't convert yet. Show them the music again, but through the lens of your success. You see what I'm saying? Now, remember, people are always in a constant state of discovery. So you'll want to keep the pre-promotion short or inconspicuous, and post-promotion longer and vocal. So we don't want to stack the front, which is what like a major label would do. We don't have time to do that. We want to stack the back and shortchange the front. Just get them in there and then slowly just get them in there and just, you know what I mean? Until we can start to stack up. You'll build up to the front stack, but the back half, that's where you're going to win. Now, if you don't do this, you will continue to be a content creator who happens to make music. You will burn out and your track popularity score will stay flat because you're moving too fast for the algorithm to learn, and you'll eventually join the 88% of artists earning $0. So slow this thing down, man, because once you get it right, you stop being background noise for a trend. You get the chance to build a high value fan base where your fans won't just know your hook, but they'll know your name, your face, and your brand, and you'll see higher save rates and higher playlist ads and actually have a career that outlasts a 24-hour news cycle. This is about slowing things down. Now, I know you're thinking, but that's so much time. If you think 6 to 8 weeks per single is a lot, try 12 weeks per single, because the dirty secret is that the logistics and asset creation start a month before the promotion even begins. So in reality, your 12-week cycles will begin to overlap with each other. So by the time you're analyzing the data and seeing the milestones of song A, you're already in the validation phase of song B. At the end of the day, this gives you the one thing the scam tried to take away, which is time to be an artist, and time to analyze the data, and time to move to the next song with actual momentum and not just exhaustion. The goal is to truly understand what releasing music is all about and what it takes to successfully do it. The question isn't, should you do this? It's how much longer will you put yourself through the headache of releasing a song a month without analyzing the data, without building all the materials properly, without doing the registration, and leaving all the little bags of money behind because you were chasing the algorithm. Let's be real here. Let's come back to earth. Now, if you need help with devising a strategy around this, book a call with me or join our group strategy calls every Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time inside the Music Money Makers community. You can click below to join today. Now, if you think you'll lose listeners by slowing down, realize that 88% of songs are earning $0 anyway. It's better to have 1,000 new fans who watch your 6-week journey than 10,000 passive listeners who don't know your name. You aren't losing listeners, you're actually trimming the fat, and that's what we're doing. Scaling it back, trimming the fat, stop rushing. So if you think the algorithm will punish you for not being active, if you release a song a month that nobody saves, the algorithm flags you as low quality. So when you slow down and drive high intent traffic from YouTube to YouTube Music or Spotify, your track popularity score actually increases. And this is all before paid ads kick in. So now I know you're gonna watch a bunch of videos on this to prove my wrong or right. You're gonna watch more marketing videos today, but you have to ask yourself, what is it going to cost to keep you doing it the machine's way? Is it 60 hours a week as an unpaid intern for a distribution company chasing a $12 royalty check? If so, you will start to resent the very music that you used to love because it has become inventory instead of art. So you have a choice. You can either be a content creator who is forgotten in 36 hours, or you can be an artist who builds a legacy. At the end of the day, if you were struggling with burnout, a flat popularity score, and the feeling that you were screaming into a void, you now have the means to become an artist CEO with a high value fan base, a professional rollout, and a career that actually pays. Music Money Makers, if you make music, you should always make money. Log on to musicmoneymakeover.com, grab the 60-day record label system beneath this video, complete with my funding partners, book a call, join the Music Money Makers community, grab the free stuff, and watch this next video right over here to save your career. And I'll see you next time. Peace.